Hello everyone, I am Guzmán-Morales, and the topic of my presentation is Patterns of Water Clarity in Guánica, Puerto Rico, 15 years after the development of a management plan. And this was the project I did for my master thesis with advisors Dr. Roy Armstrong, Juan Cruz Mota, and William Hernandez. And to give you more familiarity with our area of study, the background of is a drone photo of Guánica Bay, which is a semi-closed bay located in southwestern Puerto Rico, in the driest municipality of the archipelago, Puerto Rico. Over here, we have the Guánica Dry Forest, and this is the area where the bay connects to the ocean. A little bit about myself. I obtained my undergraduate degree in biology at the University of Puerto Rico in Mayagüez, where I also did my master's in biological oceanography. I have been working with water optics and water quality since 2019. I'm going to go ahead and give you a spoiler of this talk. This work aimed to evaluate management efforts implemented since 2016 in the Guánica Bay watershed using satellite imagery. We found that the temporal patterns observed in Guánica were not consistent with an improvement in water clarity following the management actions, because the impacts of hurricanes Irma and Maria in 2017 on water clarity probably outweighed the management efforts implemented in the watershed. As you all probably know, water quality in coastal environments has decreased due to human impacts. A recent study found that more than 80% of the wastewater generated by human activities is discharged into rivers and oceans without any treatment, causing environmental pollution and more than 50 diseases. To the right side of the presentation is a depiction of a watershed, which is an area of land that channels rainfall into streams, rivers, and eventually to a common outlet, which can be a bay or the ocean. And this is to put into perspective that whatever we do in the higher parts of the country, an island or an archipelago, like is the case of Puerto Rico, can and usually has an impact in the coastal environment. And here are some examples of sources of water pollution, which can be as common as littering or throwing garbage directly to a water body, through domestic and recreational activities such as the use of some detergents, which we know increase available nutrients and can cause harmful algal blooms, through the development of land for housing or industries. In the case of industrial runoff, it can carry toxic pollutants into the water. And another common source of pollution is agriculture through irrigation practices, where a water canal is altered to provide water to other areas, through the use of fertilizers and other poor agricultural practices. So what are the consequences of decreased water quality? Among there are harmful effects on highly valuable coastal ecosystems, such as coral reefs that can be degraded, which can also mean harmful effects on the quality of people's lives, because it increases diseases such as diarrhea and skin symptoms like rashes, as well as fishery scarcity. And as a result, efforts to reverse the effects of poor planning of land alterations have been made in some regions, but the problem is that these efforts are usually not evaluated. Like is the example of the Guánica Bay watershed. And here on the right, you can see a map of the watershed, which is a 151 square mile system located in southwestern Puerto Rico that encompasses 8 municipalities and has 7 subbasins, all of which drain to the Guánica Bay through the Rio Loco. In 2008, the Guánica Bay Watershed Management Plan was created after the coral reefs adjacent to the watershed were reported as stressed and degraded, to protect them from sources of pollution. The problem is that it has been implemented since 2016, but there have not been any assessment reports that would shed light on the effectiveness of the management efforts implemented until now. So how did we propose to evaluate the management efforts? Remote sensing technologies, such as the use of satellite sensors, have allowed us to have consistent monitoring with greater spatial and temporal coverage. From these sensors, we can infer the concentration of water quality parameters such as chlorophyll A, suspended particles, and light attenuation, which is the emphasis of this work. For this study, we use the MERIS and OLCI sensors, and this is the Sentinel-3 OLCI spacecraft model. We had two objectives: evaluate the effectiveness of management actions implemented from the Guánica Bay management plan using remote sensing techniques, and to describe temporal trends of water clarity in estuaries in the south and southwest of Puerto Rico. We expected that if the management actions implemented in the Guánica Bay watershed have been effective, water clarity would improve in Guánica after the implementation of the management actions. And this change would be observed only in Guánica as compared to reference estuaries. I will take a moment here to briefly introduce our variable of interest, which is the diffuse attenuation coefficient at 490 nanometers, or KD490. And this is a measure of light attenuation in the water column, and therefore a water clarity index. A high KD490 means high attenuation, and therefore the water body is more turbid, while a low KD490 means low attenuation and clear waters. So improved water quality would mean that the KD490 decreases. So this is the trend that we expect to find at Guánica Bay, which is a decreasing trend. The experimental design we used for this study was a beyond before after control impact approach, which consists of measuring the variable of interest before and after a human disturbance, in this case the management plan, in the area managed and reference areas. At each estuary, 4 locations were selected in terms of proximity to the river mouth to see the spatial trends of the estuaries, and these are classified as close, east, west, and far from the river mouth. And 3 pixels were randomly selected. This is an image from MERIS sensor in July 12, 2002, with the water clarity product for Puerto Rico. As explained earlier, lower values mean clear waters, and these are observed as purple and in the open ocean, while higher values mean turbid waters, and these are shown as yellow or green and observed mostly in coastal waters surrounding Puerto Rico due to the region's input. And these are the results of the water clarity patterns in the managed estuary and not managed estuaries. All estuaries follow different patterns, which means that they all have their unique hydrologic and oceanographic processes driving water clarity. An interesting observation is that Guánica has the lowest KD490 values, which means that this is the estuary with the most clear waters. A common pattern between all estuaries was that the location closest to the river mouth had higher attenuation values observed by this dark blue line, and the ones farthest from the river mouth had lower values, as is expected, because they are farthest from the river mouths. We expected water clarity to improve following management actions in Guánica, which, like I mentioned before, would be a decreasing trend, but this was not observed. In fact, a slight increase in attenuation was observed. Another interesting finding was a peak in 2018 in 3 of the estuaries related to the passage of hurricanes Irma and Maria in 2017. In other studies, it has been found that the impacts of these hurricanes lasted for several months after their passage, which explains why the peak is observed in 2018 and not in 2017. Lastly, the impacts of lockdowns related to COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 was observed as improved water clarity due to less human disturbance for that year. And you can see it in the slight decrease for the 2020 to the 2021 averages. We did some further spatial analysis of KB490 in southwestern Puerto Rico, and here are the maps showing the average KB490 values for the before and the after periods, with the difference between periods, which is the after minus before averages. As you can see from the difference plot, the one in the bottom, a slight increasing trend is observed in coastal waters, indicated by the red color, while a decreasing trend is observed in the open ocean, shown as the blue color, meaning that coastal waters are turning more turbid and ocean waters are turning more clear. Some recommendations that arise from this study are to reevaluate the plan once the Guánica Lagoon is restored, as there are plans to restore this natural lagoon, to implement management plans in other watersheds of Puerto Rico with higher turbid waters, and to continue educating the local community on the importance of improved water quality for the community's health and coral reefs. This research was supported by NOAA through the Educational Partnership Program with Minority Serving Institutions and CASM. And the results of this project I just presented can be used to inform the development of programs and plans that aim to conserve and restore coral reefs. As a result of the deterioration of water quality worldwide, jurisdictions with coral reefs are prioritizing the importance of monitoring and management of water quality. And currently, we are developing a coral reef water quality program for Puerto Rico, where we are identifying water quality gaps based on ongoing monitoring efforts on the archipelago. We are also engaging with local stakeholders to have their valuable inputs and do this in a manner that is beneficial for all. And with this work, we will be able to provide recommendations for the implementation of the plan, especially regarding the benefit of using remote sensing tools to complement traditional water quality monitoring methods. This map here shows the water quality data gaps we found for coral reef areas in Puerto Rico. The coral reef areas are identified as these orange polygons, and the data points are existing water quality monitoring efforts throughout the island. The red boxes are the water quality data gaps. So we can see that coral reefs in the southwestern and northeast part of the island, like La Parguera Natural Reserve and Guánica and Fajardo and Culebra, are highly monitored areas, while areas in the northwestern and southeast of Puerto Rico are less monitored. So we can recommend monitoring solutions for this area. And with this, I would like to thank you for listening. Any questions or comments can be addressed to this email or through the Whova platform. If you can scan the QR code, you can find the research article, a story map on this project, as well as socials like LinkedIn. So thank you so much.